Welcome to the Dropout Multimillionaire Podcast, hosted by best-selling author and serial entrepreneur Brian Will. Here we go.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Dropout Multimillionaire Podcast. My name is Brian Will, and this podcast is based on my best-selling book, The Dropout Multimillionaire, 37 Business Lessons in How to Succeed with No Money, No Education, and No Clue. That was me, by the way. We've been covering a lot of topics in these episodes. In fact, the last episode we talked about why. Why are you here? I think I tried to talk you out of being in business. Probably made a few of you mad. So if you're still here and you're still in business, today's episode is also going to be about why, but a little different. Today, I want to know why people should use your business or why people should buy from you. Why? This is a tricky question. A lot of business owners can't answer that off the top of their head. I remember somebody told me once, I need to be able to wake you up from a dead sleep and ask you why people should buy from you. And you should be able to rattle it off without even thinking. Okay. So with that in mind, I have a few questions for you. What is it that you do? What product do you sell? What service do you offer or provide? Okay. Why is your product or service or your customer service better than everybody else's? In other words, and this is the key, why should I buy this from you instead of somebody else? And that's really the key. And you might have to go think about that for a while, because you need to be able to answer that question instantaneously. It is the single most critical question you need to answer before you can effectively market to the public. Because if you can't answer it to yourself, the public isn't going to buy from you. I want to give you two examples of what I'm talking about. Recently, I got a call from a guy I used to work with out in Portland, Oregon. I was an interim CEO for an insurance company. And he had left and he had started his own business selling insurance, and open enrollment was coming up. And he called me one day and he said, "Hey, Brian, I need to ask you a favor." And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "I need an opening line or a pitch to get in the door or past the gatekeeper in these companies." He was looking for a magic bullet. And I said, "Well, let me ask you something. Why should I, as a customer, buy from you?" And he said, "Well, because I offer great customer service." And my response was, and by the way, I'm very direct. My response was, so what? Everybody tells me they offer great customer service. Most of them don't. And he said, "Well, I care about your employees." And I said again, so what? Telling me that you care about my employees means nothing to me. And by the way, everybody says the same thing. Why do you care more than they do? You're going to have to do much better than that, because right now you sound like a salesperson. At this point, he didn't have an answer. And we sat there in silence for about a minute. And I said, "Listen, here's what you need to do. You need to take some time and you need to figure out the answer to that question. And it needs to roll off your tongue and it needs to make sense. And when you have that answer, why should I buy from you? Call me back and we'll talk through it." He said thanks and hung up. Now, truthfully, if he figures out the answer to that question, he doesn't need to call me back. And here's why. When you figure out why, that's your pitch. When you figure out why, that is your magic bullet. When you have something that nobody else has, or that you do better than they do, or there's a reason why they should buy from you, that's what you're looking for. So that was example number one. Now, this is kind of an opposite example. Example number two, when I wrote my first book, I was looking for an editor. I looked at a few large companies, and then I got a referral from another friend. So I called the referral and I said, "Hey," her name was Hillary, and I shared with her what I was doing and the companies I was looking at. And I told her, I really like this one company in particular, and I thought I was going to go with them. She was very knowledgeable about the industry, the job. She knew the company I was talking about. And she mentioned, she said, "I actually talked to them about working for them in the past as a subcontractor, because they don't really have all these editors in-house. They subcontract this work out." She said, "And ultimately I decided against it and chose to keep growing my own business as opposed to working with them." So she told me her fee structure, and she felt like that company was overcharging the clients and that she could be much more cost effective. I would get exactly the same thing the company was selling me for less money. And I do mean exactly the same thing, because it would be the same editor. And that is what hit home. I realized this company was basically going to take my money, subcontract out the work to someone like Hillary. I would be paying a middleman. I would not get any more value for my money. But if I went with Hillary, I'd get the exact same person or similar that I would have used with a company. I pay less money and I get to work directly with them. Bingo. This is what she was offering me that I couldn't get from the other company. I was getting the same service, lower cost, still got Hillary. By the way, she did an amazing job, and I'm super glad that I went with her. She answered my question. And it's funny, I look back, and I don't even know if she realized what she was doing when she did that, but she had the single most critical piece, which is why. And so I chose Hillary, and that is how you get people to buy from you. So that's it for today. Everything I talk about is in the book, The Dropout Multimillionaire. If you want to learn more, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, my YouTube channel at The Dropout MM. Or to make it easy, you can go to www.brianwillmedia.com, www.brianwillmedia.com for more information on the books, social media, podcasts, guest appearances. Listen, figure out your why. Y'all have a great day, and let's rock and roll.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Dropout Multimillionaire. To learn more about how we can help you with your business, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit www.brianwillmedia.com or The Dropout MM on Instagram.